So welcome to Live from Studio Venus. I'm here today with Donna Gallant, and we're going to talk a little bit about her art. I don't know if we've ever met in person.
Probably not.
I've been watching your artwork.
Oh,
I've seen what you've done. I've seen different exhibitions where I've seen your work.
Yeah.
So I know of you in like that Lethbridge sense.
Yeah.
I know you exist.
Yeah.
But it's our first time meeting.
Yeah,
so
it is.
we only met moments ago.
That's cool.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me.
Okay.
So I was looking at your work, and it looks like you use every medium.
Oh yeah.
That you
I'm
feel
mixed
like
media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially mixed media lately, it looks like with, and I saw you said 100
day challenge.
So tell me about that.
Okay, well, I got it from Julie Faye Balzer. I don't know, but anyway, she's a New York artist, and she put that challenge out. And there's quite a few people doing that. So we started, I believe, January 31st.
Okay.
So it's for 100 days. And I see people from Australia doing it, people from all over the place. So.
And so what's the challenge? Is
the
it just
challenge
to create
is
art?
to every day,
Yeah.
you do a piece of work, you pick the media, you pick the subject. Now, I didn't really pick a subject, I kept it more abstract, but
Right.
I picked collage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and collage / mixed media, because I throw some other things in there.
I was
too.
going to say, I've seen some paint on there.
Yeah, there's paint, yeah. There's other things, and so.
But that's what collage is,
Yeah.
right? It's not only a collage of that, but it's collage of materials.
Yeah. So I did a program with her last year on journaling, art journaling, and I just kind of follow her, and then she put that challenge out. And like I said, I see a lot of other artists working in it too, because once you put it on Instagram, you can go on there and you can see all these other artists.
Yeah.
There's one artist, her name is Kat Hand. I'm not sure where she's from, I think the States. And she's doing botanicals, like mostly leaves.
Oh, nice.
And she's using a junk journal, and each day she does something different in this junk journal. And the junk journal is made up of all kinds of stuff, you know.
So is that what it, I haven't heard that term before. What's a
junk journal?
No, I know, I'm sorry.
Well, they take everything, you know, like every kind of papers, fabric, envelopes, and they make a journal out of it. And so she's even got some of those business envelopes, you know, that you can see through.
Yeah.
So you can kind of,
Oh,
yeah.
See, I really love that. And I've always been, I only remember those from art school.
Okay.
And and I'd always look so enviously because I'm terrible at journaling in any sort of way, in any consistent way. And so, but it was so wonderful because it was so tactile, and you know, you could kind of see no rules, and it was what she had done in the day, or what inspired her, or whatever, and it just seemed like such a lovely piece of art to have. Yeah, something neat to pass on in a way, isn't it?
Well, it is, you know, and you can even rummage through it later, and you remember the thoughts you had when you were doing it, and
maybe inspire a new work.
Or technique you learned, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm not so much on the verbal quotes and stuff that people use in a lot of their journaling, because it originally came from, you know, visual or literal journaling, and they drew pictures and all that kind of stuff, and then it moved on. And Seth Apter, another New York artist who I think him and me could be really good friends. He just did a journal. It took him a couple of years, and there's no words in it. It's just all images.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of his stuff is textural, like he does layer on top of layer on top of layer.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's a very interesting artist. So
when he does those journals, I know we're here to talk about you, but I'm just fascinated by that. Is it in a book still, or
you make a book. You make a book.
They do.
A lot of the
because you'd need space for that, wouldn't you?
You can buy a book, any kind of book.
Yeah.
It could even be a used book.
Of course.
And you can just do what you want with it.
Wouldn't that be fun, actually? Yeah. Okay, so that's an aside, but you're doing that 100-day challenge.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic. And does she do those more than once a year kind of thing?
No, I think this is fairly new. This is fairly new.
Okay.
I think she may have done something last year. I'm not sure, but
maybe we should start one.
Yeah, 100-day challenge.
Yeah, we could start one in Lethbridge.
Well, I find what journaling does is it really keeps your hand in art making, because you know, it's only a few minutes every day, but you can accomplish a lot because you don't lose ideas or whatever.
Well, and I was reading in your bio that you have, that you're sort of, and I think it's the same for a lot of us artists, where you're interested in everything, everyday things, the color you see. And so journaling like that, I can see, you know.
So it's new to me. In the last few years I've started doing it, and it's all because of one of my students.
Oh.
She says, well, let's do a class on art journaling.
Yeah.
Never heard of
it. So when you say students, do you teach art?
Yeah,
then?
I do. I still do. Actually, I have a class starting in a couple of weeks with Lethbridge again online, and it's simple watercolor florals we're going to be doing.
So online, how is that working, especially
with Zoom?
With Zoom. And how are you liking that?
At first I didn't, and I still kind of have my apprehensions about it, because when I'm in a class with students, I can see what they're doing, and I can see, okay, well, maybe if you used a little more red in there, or, you know, try this brush, or, you know, I can help them more. So online it's a little harder because I can't quite see what they're doing. They might show it to me, but it doesn't mean that they've caught on, you know? So I think, you know, for intermediate and advanced students, I think it's fine, because usually you're just learning a technique, or maybe you're focusing on something different. Where a beginner's class, they don't know how to hold the brush or the pencil, you know, so you have to go and show them. And even if I show them on the camera, it doesn't necessarily mean they've caught on.
So when you say at first you didn't like it, does that mean you're kind of starting to like it now?
I'm starting to like it, a little bit better. Maybe it's the students, I don't know.
Students do make a huge difference, don't they?
But I talked to Ashley at Lethbridge about it, and we think when things are sort of back to normal, we can offer that with the class. So anybody that doesn't want to come in, or they're not able to attend the class physically, they can actually watch the class and participate. Because their classroom is really small. You can only fit about 8 people in it, whereas LSCO has a huge classroom. So you can get a lot of people in there. And still be distanced, which I think is going to be our new normal for a while. It will be. It will be. And they're pretty good at their distancing at LSCO. So, I mean, I did a class before Christmas, and it just cut off the day that they closed things up again. So we finished the class.
And when you say LSCO, that's the Lethbridge Seniors
Center downtown. And I did teach at CASA and AAC since 1980, but the last few years I haven't. And Michael's, taught at Michael's too for Chart Pack.
So you must like teaching then, if you're continuing on.
You know, students really inspire me. And they also remind me of things like, you know, you forget about stuff, and then when you have to start and show them, no, I enjoy my students.
And that's something that we, you know, to be inspired by the students and to be affected, and probably to remember our own things too, is such a good thing with teaching, because often we can get in our own little heads in our own little studio and maybe kind of miss out and forget. Well, I've done some on location classes too, which is a riot. Out in the wind. Oh my goodness.
Lethbridge wind.
No kidding.
My students enjoy it too, because I find that if you work from life, it's much more challenging, because you're not dealing with a limited depth of field, you know, like you would with a photograph, or and you're dealing with elements, you know, like the wind, or really the sun. Like when you look outside here, the sun, I mean, there's no question as to where it is, you know, like the shadows are strong. That dark light contrast is so strong compared to a photograph. Is limiting. So.
Well, and we definitely have beautiful landscape here, but that Lethbridge wind.
Especially lately. You'll find in the summer it won't be so bad, but then the sun is high and the landscape isn't so great to do.
You don't get the shadows as much.
Well, everything's green,
Who loves lovely green coulees?
Yeah. That's when we head for the florals,
Yeah. So do you have a space in your house where you paint? And is that, obviously you're doing your 100-day challenge, so that's something, but how do you usually approach getting towards an empty canvas? Do you have something in mind? Do you sit and put your paintbrush to the canvas and see what happens? What do you do?
Well, I'm not sure what I do. Well, with these challenges, of course, most of them are on paper. Mm-hmm. I look through my papers that I have already done, and they inspire me as to what to do on the paper. But as far as the canvas goes, it depends. If I have a project or something in mind, like I did those florals years ago, and so I would work from my photographs of flowers and blow them up and did them on panels so that I can easy storage, right? And they were oil, and I really enjoyed that series. But that was also about the same time that I was diagnosed with cancer. So they were actually instrumental in part of my cancer recovery.
Because they were a distraction?
No. Like I had uterine cancer. And so for some reason, and I didn't know I had it, I was drawn towards flowers, the inside of flowers in the darkness, to see these obscure shapes in there. And so I started painting them. And then I was diagnosed with cancer and, went through all the stuff. And I had been reading somewhere that you can change the way you think about something by the palette you pick. So I thought, I'm going to start picking things that are bright and green, for growth and all that. So I started to pick more bright inside flowers.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. So that kind of, I went through that whole series and picked things that were kind of, like I said, bright and vibrant and lively. So, and then of course it's been 11 years now, so cancer free. So yeah.
Oh, that's so great to hear. It's funny, I was just talking to Alexis.
Yes.
And we were talking about how health and how that can affect the art that we make.
Oh yeah.
And her thing was to what art she hadn't made yet.
Right.
And how that was something important to her, how sort of that idea of not being well or by wondering what's going on, how that sort of affected what she wanted to do and how she didn't want to waste any time.
Well, you can pass it on to her about this, because I had read this in some psychology thing. About changing your palette will change the way you think about something.
That's really lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
And so the healing process, right?
And have you continued that on with palettes, like even just on something not as serious? But
well, no. Trying to think the last big series I did. No, I think. Back to florals again. Yeah. But I started.
You do florals so lovely.
I do.
By the way.
I do a lot of them. But I also did figures for 35 years, and so I missed the figure group.
Yeah.
And it seemed every time they'd have a class or whatever, or a session, I was teaching. So I had to choose between the teaching and the figure drawing. So but if I get chance, I do. And I'm also was doing 3 times, I guess, with the UK Portrait Artist of the Week. So I've been working on. They have a live model for 4 hours every Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know this. But I'm addicted to the television show. Do you watch a show where it's Portrait Artist of the Year and Landscape?
And there's a Canadian landscape. Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll get a Canadian portrait one too.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah. I just love
well,
those.
Many years ago, because I love that show.
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to apply. I had all my pieces picked out. I was going to submit and stuff. So I went, I started to fill out the form. You had to be a resident of the UK, because they had Canadian people on there already, but they must have been living in there,
Well, that's too bad.
So when they brought this up, and it's globally, they'd have like 2,000, 1,500 entries every week from around the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to start Lethbridge, landscape artist of the year. Seriously, though, that would be a fun thing to do, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Even just to organize something down at Galt Gardens or something, where we sort of get to share the challenge, but also the sort of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, well, you can see the impact. And some of these portrait artists, they show up again, they bring them back for this weekly one. So you'll see them a few years later and what they're up to, you know.
Oh, very cool.
Because they have the model.
Yeah.
And they have the artist, but they're both in their own places. But this is all on Facebook, eh?
Oh.
Like if you looked it up on Facebook.
I'm going to, yeah.
Or Instagram too. You can find it on my portrait artist of the week.
That's what it was, because I saw a hashtag on one of your pieces that was that, and I sat there and tried to figure out what it was. I think it was it was a portrait. And I at first thought that a lot of your portraits were with pencil crayon, and then I kept looking and saw you've actually used pretty much every medium that there is. Yeah. What, do you have a favorite medium?
No,
so you don't have one you kind of go to all the time?
No.
Yeah, just whatever.
I really like oils because the color is true. They blend so nice, but so does pastel.
Yeah,
Chalk pastel. But acrylics, you can get a different kind of depth because you can create textures that are so remarkable.
But the colors don't truly shine until you put the finish on.
And they dry darker, So it just depends. And pencil's fun, it's not so messy.
Although your pencil drawings that I've seen have a real looseness to them. So which is lovely.
And watercolor dries lighter, but I still like watercolor too. Well, because you can do things with watercolor. Like you cannot create a watercolor sky in anything else but watercolor. You just, unless maybe you did airbrush.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you can get it with airbrush, but I really feel that watercolor is just so fluid.
Right.
You can do things with that.
That's why it scares me. It's so fluid. How do you control it?
You don't control it.
You just work with what happens with it, which is maybe the fun challenge of it, right?
Well, after a while, you kind of know what the water's going to do, how much water to add, and all that kind of stuff, But that comes only with experience. It's like I can't teach somebody, not enough. Well, I can say that to them. Not enough water. Well, how much water should I put on? Well, I can't tell you.
You kind of have to try it and find out a few times what works and doesn't work. What do you mostly teach, or is that all over the place? Is there something that you love teaching? Is it watercolor?
No, there's nothing specifically. I know a lot of people really should take drawing before they take anything else, because that's their weak point. But they all want to, like Pauline McGeorge, my prof at the university, she used to say, they want to flame into form, just think they can sit down and they can just put it all out there and it'll just come together.
Although, because I don't draw, I'm not going to say I can't draw, because that's probably not the right thing to say, but because I don't draw, I found it so intimidating. I didn't even want to start painting. My mom draws very well and paints very well, and so painting just was terrifying to me, because I thought, well, if I can't draw, how can I paint? But it was just finding different things that I enjoy drawing or painting, and it's a different way.
Well, I don't know if you know Barb Goodman.
No, I don't.
She's another really good Lethbridge artist. And
write that down.
Barb Goodman. Hi, Barb. Anyway, her figures are wonderful, but she trained in Florence for a bit.
Oh, wow.
But she doesn't like to draw either. She just likes to paint. But she kind of starts out drawing with the paint, if you know what I mean.
With the paint. Yeah. At least to get a form down. And then that gives you, then you're able to kind of loosen up from there. Yeah. I find I do that as well. I kind of give myself a bit of parameters with the paint. But sitting down with a pencil just.
And because she works in oils, she'll wipe stuff away, like if you were drawing, you'd use the eraser,
Yeah. Painting's fun.
It is.
Painting's very fun.
Yeah. I think the thing that I like the most about painting is the color. Yeah. And with drawing, I like the dramatic images you can create, because you can really create that dark and light, that strong, and depth. I find, drawing, you can create such depth.
And drawing, would you consider that charcoal as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's where you could get those.
Yeah,
lovely.
There's nothing as black as a piece of charcoal.
Literally, probably.
Well, I mean, there's different blacks in paint too, but not all blacks are the same either.
No.
Just like not all whites are the same,
Yeah, for sure.
But charcoal is black.
Yes. Don't have many options other than that.
Yeah.
Do you have sort of something that flowers or something that you sort of went through?
I've done landscapes, flowers, and figures a lot.
Those are
the three main ones. I've done still life, and now I'm working towards more the abstraction, because I find it much harder to do than realism.
It's funny, and I think people think sometimes it's the opposite. Hey,
no, it's because the elements have to be working.
Yeah.
If they're not aligned properly, it's just going to look like a mess.
Yeah. Well, in here, we're in the Trianon Gallery, and Eileen Murray's works up here, and it's a real example of sort of an abstracted, but still a form.
It's still representative,
Yeah. So there's that can happen too. And I think when I was talking to her one time, she was saying she still needs that, thing that you're starting from,
right,
and then to go to the abstraction.
Right. Yet if you took realism and you really concentrated on it, it is abstract. Especially high realism. If you just took the elements of, let's say, if I'm looking at the corner of that building there and just took that corner, and made it so it's not recognizable as a form,
then it is abstracted.
But it's from realism, right?
Right. And that sounds like that's something you like to do.
Yes.
To come into sort of tight into different pieces.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But even I did those prairie skies, for quite a while.
And did you do those while you were outside or from photographs?
Well, sometimes my little watercolors I do on location.
Yeah.
The others are usually photographs, I've done. But when I stopped working at the gallery, because I worked at the Bowman Art Center for 17, 18 years, when I left there, I thought, I'm going to go out and do these little watercolors, these landscapes, and then come back in and blow them up and make them big out of a different painting source.
Yeah.
And I did a few in pastel, I did some in acrylic, but mostly I ended up with the watercolors, and they're all over the place now. Everybody likes this little, but it's all about the big sky. I was trying to, I did a series in the oil too. Because we're in big sky country,
yes, we are,
you cannot help but be influenced by that sky.
Yeah.
And I have dogs, and I walk them every day, and we're out in the prairie. I mean, I just love the dramatic skies.
Me too.
When those clouds are rolling in, or the wind is blowing.
But it's funny. My stepdaughter had said she lives out by, she lives in Victoria, so on an island, right? But she was saying that the prairies sometimes are like the oceans.
They are.
Right? And so then you have that big sky, you have the prairies, my husband and I drive the country roads all the time. It's just sort of like looking at this beautiful sort of...
the wind is blowing, the wheat is moving, just
very,
like the waves.
We have the waves of the oats.
That's right.
But our landscape is very unique.
Yeah.
We've got, just coming into the coulees, and then our skies, and we're pretty lucky here in
Well,
Lethbridge.
I think everybody in Alberta we have everything except the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, we got the Badlands, we've got the prairies, we've got the mountains, we've got the forests, we've got the rivers, we've got the lakes.
Have you ever been to the dunes? We have dunes here.
Yes.
Have you?
No, I haven't, but I know they're there.
Yeah. I kind of like to see them, but they're way up north where bugs are.
Yeah. And did you know out at Grassy Lake, there's grasses there that are nowhere else in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey? Oh, wow.
They have like a, you know, it's protected, an area that's protected. Yeah.
It's pretty out there too.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of interesting landscapes here, for sure.
Do you think that any of your sort of collages, which is what you've chosen now for your 100-day challenge, are those going to turn into paintings, do you think, or are they are what they are?
They are what they are. I'm not gonna go any further. I shouldn't say further. I'm not going to take them and make them into a painting. Yeah. But they will influence what I'll do in a painting.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you can work out the colors and all of that too, right? A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Collage is something I would like to try.
Yeah, it's fun because you can use anything. Like I said, you can use paint, you can use fabric, you can use thread, you can use old pieces of something. You know, you can even put 3-dimensional pieces on there too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, little knicky-knacks, buttons and stuff like that.
So does your studio look like mine then? You can't get rid of anything?
Oh no, I went through last year. I purged quite a bit last year. 35 years of figure drawing, you know?
Yeah, right.
So what I started to do with a lot of the drawing, the gesture drawing so much, because really you're not going to do much with them, is rip them all up, and now I'm collaging on top of them.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm reusing them.
Yeah.
The paper anyway.
Yeah.
But I've got a stack of canvases that I have to gesso over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have a bunch of canvases that I was going to gesso over, and Eileen again had said, just go over top, because you never know what little bit that's there you want to leave there. And I thought, so I'm trying that. It's hard though.
I've got tons of books, but I can't remember the artist's name. But what she does is she'll use like masking fluid.
Oh yeah.
Or masking, masking fluid, and do some kind of design or something, and then paint the whole thing over. Then pull the masking fluid off, and you got bits of that other one coming through.
Oh, I think I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to. I want to play with it for sure.
Yeah.
But I've done it where I've just painted over quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few. Do you find it hard? Is it yours you're painting over?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't. I don't touch anybody else's.
See, because I go secondhand stores and get them all the time, and I feel a little guilty. I have to admit, going over top of them, because I'm like, I know someone spent so much time.
If they're a store-bought one, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're not even a real piece of artwork, you know?
I suppose,
yeah. They're just a reproduction, so I wouldn't feel bad.
No, but like real artwork.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know, should I be ashamed?
I don't know. Depends if you know the name.
No, I don't know any of the names, and I don't think I would do it over people I know. But yeah, it is sort of, we have these canvases, and you've got to reuse them.
Yeah.
You can't have them sitting there for too long.
Yeah. Because, you know, some of the new canvases, like that Michael's has, aren't that great.
They're not.
You know?
No, they're not. It's not like you're getting a good quality canvas. No. What about selling your work? How has that been for you? Because that's sort of what's tough for a lot of us artists.
It is tough. Yeah. I did have a website that I had that I was, I have 2 websites, but the one that I sort of did for information, I let it go, because right now I'm retired. I don't really care if I sell anything. But I have another website where I do sell, and they're sort of like an online gallery. So, you know, I have like, I don't know how many images I have, but I can have up to 1,000.
You have lots, because I saw it.
Oh, did you? Well, you can have up to 1,000 images. Really? Yes, and they are, and I've sold through them.
Yeah.
And even sold to somebody in Lethbridge.
Oh, isn't that funny, eh?
Yeah. So they're the middleman, so they kind of hold the money for you.
Right.
So you ship it off to whoever, and they have 3 days to decide. Yeah. If they don't want it, they ship it back to you. So this gallery holds on to the money. So if they like it, give it to you. If they don't like it, they give it back to them.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go, because you're just never sure. I've had people from Iran contact me. I want 5 of these pieces. Will you take a check? No.
If I can cash it first.
PayPal.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have PayPal here. I was like, forget it.
Yeah. Well, and that's always the, and I don't know, you've been an artist way long. I'm just putting my foot in painting now, but it's always been a tough thing for me to be able to price your art and let your art go. And it's something you get better at as you're an artist. Yeah.
Well, Carfact has a formula for you if you want. But I guess the best way to say it is, every time you've done like a major exhibition, you're entitled to kind of start putting your prices up. You don't want to go backwards.
Right.
You can sell your older work because it is less. You can sell that for less, but your new work, you should never go back. You could be equal to what you did before, but don't go lower.
Backwards. Yeah. And that's only fair to the people that have bought your work too, right?
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, if all of a sudden something's a lot less expensive, now they've got a piece there that's worth less.
So I don't do deals. You either pay that, you can pay me in installments. You don't have to pay all at one time, or I'll give it to you. If you can't afford it. So
well, and all our money goes back into paint and everything else anyway, doesn't it?
It's not like I'm making tons of money. I did sell quite a bit last year to friends and acquaintances, but I didn't sell to anything else. But who's open, to sell anything. And I was with Mortar and Brick, quite a bit last year, but they didn't have anybody buy anything. But I know the AAC Works, they have sold for me. The SAG gift store has sold for me, but I'm not too worried.
No, well, it sounds like you've got your life really full with already with your teaching and that too, which...
The only thing is you end up accumulating a lot of stuff. So that's what I mean. I'm painting over and reusing stuff so that, we're not going to get too much. And I gave a bunch of sample pieces away to somebody that was interested in painting. Just they could have the boards to paint on, or the canvases.
Oh, nice.
They weren't my original pieces. They were, when I'm teaching for Grumbacher, I'm teaching one of their lessons.
Right.
And that was the only stipulation. They had to paint over it because it's not mine, my image,
Right.
So she was happy to get it.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for talking to me today. It was nice to get to know you a little bit, and I'm hoping you'll maybe send me some images so that we can add that onto the YouTube, so that people are able to look at what we talked about, if that's okay.
You want the current stuff or old stuff, or
whatever you think? I mean, we talked about the pieces that were the close-up of the flowers. I'm sure people would love to see those, and
I just reposted them. I'm part of a botanical club. Or society, I guess, that does botanicals.
You're one of those people that retired and you're as busy as ever. Hey?
I know,
As my mom said, I've never been so busy in my life since I've retired.
That's what they say. You have to go back to work to get some rest.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not that busy anymore, but I do a lot of things, but I take a lot of time too now. I don't rush through things.
Well, that's supposed to be what we're able to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks again.
I will send you images.
Perfect. All right. That was great.